everybody, this is Chris Tice coming to you from the wheel well of my car. Today we're gonna change out some front brakes on here. It looks like the rotor's still good even though the brakes are worn down almost nothing. So we're gonna do that. I'll show you a quick couple of tips to check out while you're working on it. You want to always eye around everything as you're working. You know, you're not just in there to fix the brakes. You want to also make sure that the CV boots are good. You want to make sure the brake calipers in good working order. You know, each of the ball joints, you know, every joint you have in there should look pretty good. You know, you should get your hands on everything. You don't just look at the common test, you look at the big picture. So let's get started. Let me show you. First thing you check is I've got both wheels off the ground. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the wheel here and make sure it moves freely. You want to make sure the caliper moves freely. Make sure there's no big scoring or anything on the both sides. While you're moving it, you feel on the back side for any big old grooves. And see, this GoPro camera works real good because, you know, I can get a look in there and see what's going on back there as well. So this is looking pretty good. So what we're gonna do is take these two bolts out right here, and we're gonna pop this whole caliper right off. And want to make sure we tie it up nice so it doesn't fall. Alright, first thing I want to do is take my bungee here, or my rubber cord, and feed it up through the top of this. What I'm doing this for is so that when I have something to tie up my brake caliper to, because if I don't, it's going to be dangling by its hose here, and that'll just destroy everything. We don't want to pull on that hose. That's a hydraulic hose. So let's get our wrench at 17 millimeters. And this is a breaker bar. It's just a PVC pipe that I use for breaking off these bolts. Not a lot of room in here, so you want to try to probably put your breaker bar on before you get it on there. And then you can extend it out. You hear that snap. So that one's broken. So now we do the same with the bottom one. Once they're broken, they're pretty easy to come off, so you just want to get that initial torque busted off of there. You don't want to bust your knuckles. Make sure you have your knuckles clear. Oops, sorry about that. And that should slide right off of there. Now, things we want to look for on the caliper here. Want to make sure this arm slides back and forth freely. See how the shoes fall out like that? That's good. We want to make sure that that arm slides out freely. We'll pop these brake shoes out. Make sure it has full extension. And we also want to pop these little boots off and look inside, see if there's any corrosion, which looks pretty good. So we'll check those. That one looks good. Both are looking good. So now we want to hang it up by our bungee up here to preserve that line. And now you see I got the line all kind of twisted here, so let me untwist that first. And then we'll hang it up. And now that's hanging up. Now we want to look at our CV boot. So we'll lift this up out of the way. See the CV boot down here. Now the wheel turns. We want to check all the diameter of the CV boot. Make sure there's nothing bad there. Looks pretty good. Here's little rag and pinion steering ends, you know. I don't know if you could see those, but they look pretty good. All the way up the boot, you want to check all the way up to the where it connects to the transmission. That looks pretty good. So So everything's looking pretty good on the car, just the brakes need to be changed. As you can see, the brakes were pretty thin here, went pretty low on them, so we'll definitely want to change them out. They are. Here's the old one compared to the new one. As you can see, there's quite a massive difference between the thickness of the old with the new. So I waited way too long to do this. For the front end, with your greasy fingers, you want to try to keep this area nice and clean. You don't want any interaction, grease getting on there or anything when you start adding grease. So we're going to wipe those down, because we're going to put grease on there to make sure it doesn't make a lot of noise. They also come with these metal plates to protect the back of the shoe, so you want to add those on. They have adhesive on the back. Just kind of peel the sticky end off of there. And then you want to take your old brake shoe for the back side, put it back in, so we're going to use the clamp to crush this cylinder back in, because the cylinder is all the way out for these thin brakes. So right now there's no way the new brakes would fit in there. So what we're going to do is just push that cylinder back in, feed that in through the top, and then try to hook it up around the back side. That's another reason you want it to have the pressure off of the hose, because you're gonna, if you're trying to fight this, you always put a lot of pressure on stuff. So now we just ease it in. It should go in pretty easy. Shouldn't take a lot of force. Should go nice and smooth. And you just kind of watch, make sure when you bottom it out, you'll feel it when you bottom it out. But always use the new brake pad, or the old brake pad, to push it in, because you'll score up the crap out of the shoe there. And who cares on the old one, right? Alright, that's bottomed out. Top it off, squeeze that out of there. Alright, it's pushed all the way in. Right there we got, see the cylinder inside of there? It's kind of dark, but I think you can try to make it out. Still have good movement on our housing. Everything's coming together pretty good. It comes all the way down, everything looks nice. So now it's time to put the new shoes in. We want to add a little grease to the backs. First one I want to do is I want to take the housing on these have an extra piece here for the back one that goes up against the caliper itself. So we're going to add a little grease to the back of that to prevent it from squealing as we brake. Now they'll try to sell you some high caliber stuff at the store. Oh, it goes up to 4,000 degrees, but if your brakes are braking at 4,000 degrees, then you obviously ride the brake too hard. So you should never need to do that. I just use general purpose grease. You can use it for anything. So I just use general purpose grease. Put a nice little, a thin coating on there, not too much, just a little bit. Just enough to say there's some on there. Then you also put a little bit on the back of here where it actually touches the brake caliper itself. Because there'll be, metal on metal, it's going to squeal. So you just want to stop the squealing. That's what you want to do, is just stop the squealing. You're not. So wipe your fingers off really well. Don't get any grease on the pads. And just try to line it on it. There you go. Back one's installed. See, now it should be flush with this part when it comes all the way back. Should be flush, or pretty darn close anyway. This one's not really flush, but it's pretty close. Now for the front one, a little grease on there as well. This one only has the sticky one because it's actually it's not moving. It doesn't have a moving apparatus to it. It just stays in one spot, so we don't have to worry too much, hopefully, about it squealing, but you never know, so it doesn't hurt to add grease. So they're hooked in, both are in position. Wipe them down a little bit. Now it's time to put it on. So now we'll disconnect it from the parts here. Go and just kind of feed it onto the brake shoe. See how nice it slid on there? Because we pushed it all the way in, made sure it was nice and flush. Put the bolts in. Now we want to put just as much torque as we took off. So get your torque wrench out, and just make sure it gets a nice good amount of torque on there. There. I want to make sure the wheel still turns. Alright, we don't have too much pressure on the brake. Alright. And it's looking pretty good. So we didn't remove any of the brake lines. We didn't pop the brake line off, so we don't have to bleed the brakes. It should be good to go. You should go in there and just pop your push down on the brakes and get it to seize up a little bit, and you should be good.